Welcome to Shameless. Here we explore the transformative power of courage and action.
Thank you for joining us today. If you've enjoyed our conversations and you want to have more insightful discussions and hear from other incredible guests, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us to grow and continue bringing this amazing content. Thanks for joining in and enjoy today's episode of Shameless Podcast.
I love writing down my schedule on a good old-fashioned parchment.
What is that?
It's something that, if you're young, you might not know this, but back in the day, people used to write things on like paper, and it's like, it feels like really rough. Like if you like on a table, it feels like that. It's that kind of, and it's very, very thin.
Wow.
So, and sometimes it has lines, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it has grids on it, but I love using that.
Mind blown. I mean, completely. so you go back and you get your pencil or pen out and you actually physically write down. Is that
Yes,
what you're saying to
I
me?
do. I physically write down, and I even stick it on my fridge or put it on like my mirror, whatever, depending on what sort of schedule it is.
Why do you think you do that?
I think that I like to physically touch it for whatever reason, because I obviously have, maybe not obviously, but I have a pad that has all these apps on it that you can, write your schedules on. But for whatever reason, me going through the process of writing, and it's not like I do it once and then it's okay. I usually have like 3 rounds of it where I go, okay, I want to do this, and just looking at physically like what my weekly schedule will look like, because I will write a specific list that says, okay, this year I need to do this academically, this physically, this, health-wise, etc. So I know what my goal is for the year. And then on my weekly schedule, which is pretty much standard and it might flux here and there, is just what time am I waking up in the morning? What am I actually going to try and accomplish each day? And sometimes I can just do blocks of time of work. So I won't go as specific as study 10 hours per week, but I could just say, I know that I need to do 30 minutes a day of study, but I might need to accomplish 2 or 3 different accreditations. So I'm not going to be specific to say, okay, only study for this accreditation. It's just like, that's your study time. Whatever you feel like studying, that's up to you. And I feel like that really works for me because it allows that flexibility. It doesn't make me feel so confined as to, oh my gosh, if I didn't study on this, I didn't really feel like it because maybe I had a meeting and we're talking more about this other thing that then leads itself better to studying whatever else. I can. And I think that having it written on a piece of paper and putting it on my fridge and then canceling it out, especially when it comes to working out, it is such a nice feeling to just go X, get to the end of the year, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm good.
I'm finding it interesting. So you start off with an entire year worth of your goals. You break that down and you physically write that?
I have like a 10-year, 5-year,
Okay.
goal, right? But I feel like, realistically, you can have your 10 years, but what are you doing year on year to kind of get to that 10-year goal? So it's like having that kind of end in sight, you can skate it all the way down to bring it down to 365 days in that year. And it's really important. I think it's really, really important to actually do this exercise. And whether you use an electronic device, whether you use one of the tools that we have on T4R on the app as well as the website, you need to actually sit down and go, what am I actually doing on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis? Because time flies. And I think that if you're not intentional with how you spend your time, it is very easy to look back for 2 years, 3 years and be like, what the have I done with my life?
And so that whole intentionality, one aspect that you said was, it's not just being intentional about work, but also the mental, the physical. Like, why do you incorporate all of that as part of your discussion point?
I think that it's important to be holistic. So, family time is important, friends time. How do you regenerate? Because yes, you can work, but at the end of the day, when you are, at least I'm told, because I haven't been there yet, but apparently at the end of your life, and you're lying on your sick bed, you're like, hey. No one's saying, I wish I spent 2 more hours in the office. They're going, oh man, I wish I spent more time with my kid that no longer talks to me because they hate me because I was working so much. Think that it's always possible to be in your 4 quadrants, if it's like, family, work, physical activity, spirituality, whatever your 4 quadrants are. I don't believe that you can always be in the same amount of space in all 4. I think that sometimes you're really good at one and then you're really bad at another. But I think that it's very important to be conscious of where you're spending the time throughout the year, so that in the year, when you do like, okay, let's reconcile how our year went, you actually were even on all 4, even though you might not have been on even all 4 on every single day or every single month.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share as we embark on our mission to impact 1 million African lives by 2026.
This podcast is brought to you by Transformation Leader. You can follow us at www.t4leader.com.